At the end of the day, selling is transferring a feeling. If you don't have the feeling, you can't transfer it. If you don't have a good, positive feeling, dude, you're an actor. You have to sell and run your business from a place of positivity. And however you get there, God bless you. All right. Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. It is episode 102, and we are recording this on Friday. Yes, this isn't live, but it's the best I could do because I've either prayerfully just landed or I've exploded in the sky above Vegas. One of the two. I am traveling on Monday and I will be in Vegas. And so we have a special show for you. Chris Stone, who is the best producer in the entire world, followed me around with a camera when we were at Outbound, and we had a blast. We interviewed my friend Larry Levine from Selling from the Heart, and my very good friend and hero, Victor Antonio, who wrote this masterpiece, Mastering the Upsell. Victor is amazing. I consider him a friend, and I can't wait to show you the clips from this. But before we do that, let's pay the bills like we normally do. If you haven't bought the my book, Sell a Million, what are you waiting for? Go to Amazon, get your copy. I think it's $14.95, 101 tips on how to sell $1 million more this year in a furniture or a mattress store. The best compliment I've ever gotten was from my friend, Doug Stewart. And he said, take the word furniture or mattress out of this book, and it's just a great marketing book. And I spent a lot of time on that book, and very proud of the help that it's given a lot of retailers, and look forward to your comments on it. And I want to say thank you to Steve Hauk for sponsoring my show. The Mattress Industry Network group does a great job sponsoring my show, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Over 1,600 people strong. If you're not in the Mattress Industry Network group, you are absolutely missing it. The Mattress Industry Group helps you to build, market, and sell and succeed in the mattress industry. And everybody's welcome. Whether you're a sales pro on the retail floor, you own a store, you're a sales rep, you're a VP of sales, you own a manufacturing facility, you're all welcome. You're a reporter in the furniture or the mattress industry. Welcome. Come into the group. We want you there. Join the Mattress Industry Group. Just hit that. Just scan me and join the group and tell them that I sent you, and say hi to me, because I'm in the group every week, and it's a great group to network and learn how to sell more mattresses more profitably, and how to really give an incredible, great experience to your customer. So Chris, welcome to the show, and thank you for doing this special edition. Let's just talk about Outbound. So, let's go back. So me and you hooked up. I had some producers that were freaking nuts, and I needed a new producer, and I shot for the stars, my friend. I shot for the stars. And our mutual friend, Victor Antonio, I kind of had watched you helping him produce his Sales After Dark during COVID. And I said, number one, I probably can't afford this guy. And it appears to me that Chris Stone is so busy, there is no way he's going to mess around with my little show. And I was very lucky and very blessed. And I'll tell you, this has been nothing but joy since you started producing the show. So I just want to say thank you. And anybody out there, you're thinking about doing a podcast or something similar to it, live shows, anything that requires any degree of producing expertise, Chris Stone is your man. He's absolutely your man. I don't know how much bandwidth this dude has, but he is fun to work with. There's only one shortcoming he has, and that's the fact that he's from Michigan. He loves Michigan.
Go
God
Blue,
bless
baby.
them. The Buckeyes and Michigan both got screwed by the refs,
Yeah, I
or
know.
we would have met again. And this really would have a whole different kind of a show
That's
going
right.
on here.
Pete, the show was going so well until you brought up football. It's such a sore topic for me right now. But thank you. Back to what you said, Pete. The pleasure is mine, and I absolutely appreciate you. And you are truly an inspiration to people in terms of your consistency, your acumen, your experience. And I think no matter what age you're at, no matter what profession you are, I think there's a lot that can be learned from someone like yourself that just really is a lifelong learner and is a true giver of the information that you have had over the many years of what you've done and continue to have going forward. Because, the show that we're talking about today, happened in September of 2022.
Yeah.
And we were, when you treat content like this and you think of it more importantly, like, if this content is here now, it's going to be here after I'm dead and gone, after I'm 6 feet taking a dirt nap. This content's going to be here. So maybe an interview that you have with Larry Levine may impact someone long after you're gone off of this earth. And I think when you do that, you take everything that you do more seriously, and you can have fun while you're doing it. I'm not saying everything has to be serious, and your content doesn't, it should be fun, and you should have fun doing it. But I think you, sir, take things very seriously from the standpoint of, there's a lot of people that would be checked out, I think, by this. You've achieved many things in this industry and in life, and some people would just say, you know what? It's time for me to just stop doing everything altogether. I don't have to do this stuff. And yet you continue to do it. And it's truly an inspiration to us all. So thank you, sir, for allowing me to be a small part of what you do.
Well, you are not a small part of what I do, and you've almost rendered me speechless, but that's impossible. So shout out to my newest hire. Lori Harshman has joined Team Primeau Furniture Sales, and Lori is such a consummate professional. I have had my eyes on her for a long time. I first met her over 20 years ago. She was a sales pro. I was a VP of sales, and over the years we've watched each other kind of grow, and I've become a very big fan of Lori, and the fact that she's joining my team is incredibly satisfying to me, and I am so looking forward to spending just maybe a little bit more time with my family, because I've got such a consummate professional salesperson in Lori. So welcome to Team Primeau, Lori, and I hope you enjoy this show, and I hope my plane doesn't crash going to Vegas. So me and Chris had never met. Everybody that's listening, and Kyle and Guy and Patrick, I know you're out there, and you're probably chiming in right now. And I will actually, while this plays, I'll be trying to check in if I can, and see if there's any comments and answer any comments that I possibly can. But me and Chris had never met in person. When we talk every week, so we kind of felt like we knew each other. And I have to say something to you, and maybe some of you out there have ever felt this. There was a little bit of trepidation, like, what if Chris is really, really short? What if he's really, really tall? What if he's been using a mask and is really hideous and not this handsome producer that I think? So I'm thinking, I don't want to be the other thing either. And I'm like, this could go really bad. And Chris and me, like, we met, and it's just like we already know each other.
That's right.
We spend, a good hour a week with each other. And it's, I would encourage this. If you have online connections and they're close, try to meet up with these people, try to meet people in person and take it to the next level and really kind of get out there, because the more we share, the more successful we're going to be. And I don't mean that in just the monetary uh, sense. I mean success as being a happy, fulfilled human being that has great relationships. That's what I mean. So, you want to get started with some video clips from Outbound?
Let's do it. Yeah.
So listen, guys, me and Chris met at Outbound, and we got 2 really great interviews with literal heroes of mine. Larry Levine. If you have not bought Larry's book, Selling from the Heart, you've got to buy this book. Larry did such a great job. In the interview, he's going to talk about Andrew Carnegie's Mental Dynamite book. I'd highly recommend that too. And me and him were talking about Dale Carnegie. This is a book that my father gave me, and it was published in 1960 or 1964. The original publishing date of this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, was 1936. And I'm going to tell you something. Anybody that hasn't read this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, by Dale Carnegie, you've got to do it. You've got to do it. Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill are huge influences that need to be recognized. And the other interview, guys, is with my good friend, Victor Antonio, Mastering the Upsell. This book, I almost didn't buy it because I don't like this idea of upselling. This book should really be titled The Complete Sale, because Victor Antonio's heart is always to serve. It's always a servant's heart towards his customers. And what he's encouraging us to do in this book is to more fully serve our customers. So it's not a take the commissions and run. Mastering the Upsell is not that. It is how to fully serve my customer. I'd really encourage anybody to grab that book, Mastering the Upsell. So without a further ado, I think you're going to get a chuckle out of some of these clips. It's almost like a behind the scenes clip. So Chris, let roll whatever you want to let roll. And
yep. I'll set it up a little bit more than that, just
Sure.
So for those that are just listening on the audio podcast, when we'll roll with the Victor one first. I think that will give you sort of a behind the scenes for those that are watching. So if you're listening on audio podcast and you have yet to maybe subscribe to Pete Primeau on YouTube, we do a live show every week, and we take that audio and repurpose it the following week for an audio podcast. So this is a great way for you to get a visual context of what's going on. But the audio is still there. It is an interview with Victor and another interview with Larry. But you're going to hear some noise at first, and those that are watching will be able to see what's happening. But it starts out as I decided I would just take some video of Pete walking through the Outbound crowd. He wanted to go grab something, a snack or something. And, he and I were hanging out at a booth, and I don't know, we were talking to Mark Hunter or somebody. And I decided to flip on the camera, and I followed him into this back room where we, can get some snacks, because, Pete is the VIP during this thing. And you'll be able to see, because I take the camera into the main stage room where the Outbound stage is. And I was just filming. I didn't have my mic set up. So the audio there's going to be some crowd noise. You'll be able to hear the interview. But as I take it into the Outbound stage, you'll be able to see Victor Antonio coming down the side of the stage, because he was doing some MC duties at some point earlier. And I was like, okay, hey, this is Victor Antonio. I'm going to wave him towards me and we're going to conduct an interview with Pete Primeau. So literally, Pete had no idea that he was going to be interviewing Victor Antonio. But after watching this interview, it actually is a fantastic interview, and you will not believe what Victor Antonio had to say at the end of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll, and we'll go from here. This is Pete Primeau interviewing Victor Antonio at Outbound 2022.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
PG, let's go. It was great to meet a lot of different people, but meeting Amy was really great.
Abe, that's Amy that you walked by. Yeah, this was
so
right after you done. There you go to grab a sandwich.
I'm sure. There was probably one sandwich left, and I just jumped on it.
Right.
I'm sure of that.
Okay, and so there's the main stage. It's like between speakers, and you can see Victor walking towards me with that jacket. And then I wave him in.
Victor.
I just told Pete, hey,
Busy
Victor's
to do this now.
Oh, we're doing this now.
What do we rock and roll, man? Let's do some Pete Primeau.
Victor,
Yes, sir.
thank you for saving my life.
Okay.
Little melodramatic.
But okay, I'll take that. How so?
So, during COVID, I was putting on a good face, but I was dying inside. And I see this guy, Victor Antonio. Great energy, very positive, and a show called Sales After Dark. It's on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, every week during COVID. And this guy is really talented. So thank you for saving my life. And the other thing is,
Wait a minute. How did that save your life, though?
because I was dying a million deaths inside because of everything that was going on. I thought my business was going to implode. And my business didn't implode. I was blessed beyond belief. And also, thank you for developing sales velocity.
I appreciate that. Can I ask you a question, though?
I'm a lifetime member of Sales Velocity because I don't want Victor every now and again. I want Victor every day. Sounds weird.
But anyway, I get that. But
He didn't
can I
pay
ask
me
you-
to say that.
By the way, can I ask you, though, I mean, like, what changed? I mean, you're watching the Sales After Dark stuff. You know, and by the way, for those folks, if you don't know what Sales After Dark is, a show I did when COVID hit, I had nothing to do. I lost 90% of my business. I don't know if you knew that.
You shared that.
Yeah, I lost 90% of the business, and so I started doing this thing 3 days a week, just doing it. And I thought I was like kind of just spewing stuff into the vacuum. I got to be honest. I said, well, I'm just talking. I got nothing to do. You're at home. Why not do something?
Right.
And I remember I reconfigured my studio, invested money because I had to do something. And so I was just putting out content because I really had nothing else to do. And I just said, well, let's just go, create content. And so, what was it about the content that really got you going? Because I mean, me creating the content for you guys kept me going. So I don't know, should I thank you then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Both ways.
Yeah.
So the thing that I loved about it is I can train a monkey, if that monkey's fairly intelligent, to do a script, to just talk.
Right.
But you were responding to our questions. You would do 15 to 20 minutes
Right.
on a topic, something that was on your mind.
Right.
And then you would answer our questions. And the answer to those questions was gold. And to me, that's always been the test of a real sales professional.
Right.
Can you, at the drop of a hat, do your thing?
Yeah.
Do your
Thing.
thing.
Yeah. It's interesting because Chris Stone, who's filming this right now, by the way, he knows the story. But I don't know if you know the story.
And that's how I got hooked up with Chris, by
Chris
the
is a
way.
great producer, man. There was one night I totally forgot about Sales After Dark.
I remember. I
You know the
waited for
story?
almost a whole hour
And
before
so
you showed
I am
up.
literally, I slip in my skivvies, and I think the phone, I was going to just like put it on whatever, do not disturb, and I get this text from Chris like, where are you? Or something like that. And I'm like, oh, snap. Not what I really said, but it was something like that. I was like, oh, my wife said, what? I got to do Sales After Dark. And because I committed to 100 episodes, right?
Yeah, you did.
And I remember I whipped out that blanket, and I just ran around putting on clothes, and I got to run upstairs in my studio. And I'm lighting things up. As I'm lighting things up, I go, what am I going to talk about? I'm just lighting camera, and then I get on there and I'm like, all right, sorry, I'm a little late, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I think Chris was the only one that knew that, dude, that was a total impromptu. And I think that was actually a good episode.
It was.
Which just goes to show you that sometimes, man, when you don't overthink it, it's a good thing, man.
It is.
Yeah.
So
How are you enjoying the Outbound conference here?
I'm loving it. And I have to say, there's been a lot of talk about reciprocity.
Right.
You have a fan and a customer for life in me.
Thank you.
Because of how much you put into that bank account. No,
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. I mean that seriously. Thank you.
and I mean what I said. So love Outbound, love, I'm 62 years old, right? How much am I gonna really learn about selling? I have learned a few things. And what I've been able to do more importantly is put names on things that I've done that I know that work, and how I know you guys know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is I go, that worked.
Yeah.
And that didn't, and now I know the reason why, and I actually know what it's called.
And by the way, I want the audience to know something. You actually started doing your own podcast now.
Yeah.
And then you actually interviewed me,
Yeah.
right? And so give yourself some credit because you actually created a podcast.
Yeah.
You put me on your show.
Yeah.
I said something, and what did you say? I
said a
something.
bad word.
And he
I
said,
said a bad word.
He said bullshit. He said that to me. I'm like, what? That's not the way you do a podcast. You don't say bullshit to the guest. You kind of say something
Yeah.
like this. Here's
So-
what you should
so
have said.
the truth-
Victor, that it's an
No.
interesting perspective. I like to question you on that.
The truth-
No, he said
no.
bullshit. I'm like, damn it.
the
Is this guy from
truth-
the East Coast or what?
Yes. I'm from Schenectady, New York, so yes.
I can tell.
So,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, wiggle your way out of that one on the camera.
Oh no, I'm wiggling. And I don't. This is easy. You filleted me 6 ways to Sunday, and I'm like, man, did I just make myself look stupid in front of millions and millions of viewers? And I said, no, I only got like 25, 30 viewers, so it's not a big deal.
We limited the damage, right? But it was interesting because it's like, again, part of the learning process, and I think a lot of people get stuck is I like the saying, I didn't come up with it, I wish I came up with the saying, never aim for perfection, aim for success. In other words, don't wait to get it perfect. And what I loved about what you did, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, is you didn't wait for it to be perfect. You went up there, you got a microphone, your lighting was like half shit, right?
It was
At the
really
beginning,
bad.
Right?
It was really bad.
No, but the thing
was
is,
bad.
you said, let me just start.
Right.
And then, little by little, you start improving.
Yeah.
Get a guy like Chris Stone, start producing the show, and all of a sudden, you look pro. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are afraid.
Semi-pro.
Doesn't matter. A lot of people are afraid to take that first step, and you did that. So give yourself credit for that, man. 'Cause that's not easy to do. To get on a podcast, talk to people, different personalities, try to pull out great content. And a lot of people I know have been talking about doing a podcast for so long, and they're still talking about it. You did it, man. So high five yourself on that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow. So, I am a huge Victor Antonio fan, and when somebody that you respect that much gives you a compliment, it's very humbling, and it almost makes you like not be able to speak because your mind is racing. Did Victor Antonio just give me a compliment? Yeah, he did. And I will tell you this, anybody out there, if you want to learn more about selling, Victor Antonio is a guy that you need to listen to. Sales Velocity Academy is a program that Victor offers that I am a lifetime member of, and you should have that for you and for your sales team. And I just want to say one other thing. If you're serious about becoming a better salesperson, you really owe it to yourself to make the trip down to Atlanta, Georgia in the summer and go to Outbound. And anybody that is in my tribe that makes it down, I will buy you a steak dinner at Ruth Chris. And we're going to do it all together. I don't know which day it'll be. I haven't even seen the announcement for Outbound yet, but just if you're in my tribe and you guys know who's in my tribe and you're coming to Outbound because of my recommendation, I'm buying you a steak dinner, everything included. We will have the time of our lives. And let me tell you something that happens at these dinners. Only the best people show up. The smartest, the brightest, the most passionate, the most driven. And the conversations that will happen over that dinner table will be priceless. And if we have a good enough group, I will probably try to bribe Victor or Mark Hunter or Larry Levine. I will get somebody to join us, Chris Stone, perhaps. And we will have the time of our lives. So we're going to call that the Pete Primeau Supper Club at Outbound. Join me. Don't be square. And, you know, Chris, it's really the first time I've seen that. And I'm really pleasantly surprised at how well it turned out. You know,
Yeah, I mean, listen, you could tell it was impromptu because you can hear the noise, you can hear the music from the main stage. The lighting obviously wasn't, you know, but it just sort of, it kind of played. And the thing I loved about it is that concept played into what Victor talked about at the end of it. Like, listen, if I were to just be cringy and say, "Oh, you know what? This room isn't the best lighting. Let's try to get to another area where I can set up my mics properly and my lighting properly." That didn't matter. What mattered was we got Victor and you were there. And I think at first when we pulled him in there, you were like, "What are we even doing?"
I was.
But that's what became of it because we just did it. And the show that you're seeing today, the Pete Primeau show, happened because Pete just did it. And that's what Victor's talking about. And Pete, I know you don't receive compliments, you know, you're a very humble person, and you know, but Victor does not hand those out just to anybody. And so, you know, you have to receive that and take that. And, you know, I know you're a humble person and you would, you know, you never would have you know, an inflated ego of any sort. It's just not in you. But, you know, that,
No,
that was
I did when I was younger, but,
yeah.
Mastering the Upsell by Victor Antonio. Go out, grab that book. Thank me later. Don't let that title throw you for a loop because, as I said earlier, it really should be called How to Completely Serve Your Customers and Clients. And it's a great book. And Victor Antonio is somebody that his passion, his acumen, what really impressed me about Sales After Dark was he was just taking questions off the cuff and answering them.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some times that I thought, I know the answer to this. Let's see if he does. And he did. And I'm like, okay. So thank you, Victor. Thank you for everything. Thank you for saving my life. I know that was a little melodramatic, but it's actually true. Sales After Dark was every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday through COVID, up to 100 episodes. And by the end, poor Victor, he was exhausted. I mean, he really was. But those Sales After Dark videos live on YouTube. And guys, if you can't afford $20 for a book, go to YouTube and watch Sales After Dark. And I guarantee you, you will thank me.
Oh, by the way, two things, Pete. Number one, I take my steak medium rare, and
Good.
I'll be there for
Nice.
sure. I'll buy your baked potato if you buy my steak. And the
I've
other thing
I've
too,
got
mentioning
both, brother. I got
mentioning the $20 for Mastering the Upsell. Actually, it's free. Here's a little tidbit for everyone that's watched thus far. You can get Mastering the Upsell for free, and here's how you do it. Victor just launched what's called Sales World, which is a metaverse sales experience. You don't need a virtual reality headset. It's all online. It's at salesworld.mv. And if you go to salesworld.mv, you just have to enter your email address to, you know, have an account, and it's free. And you basically travel, as an avatar throughout this huge conference in Singapore. It's a virtual conference in Singapore, and there is 20 plus speakers that are in there. Jeff Bajorek, who's been on this show, is one of them. Tim Reisterer, Brent Adamson from Gartner, like Daryl Prale. Like, there's all these key sales leaders. And then there is a library that's in there, a virtual library, and you can walk in and you can download the digital version of Mastering the Upsell in Sales World at salesworld.mv. It downloads the PDF, and so you can basically have a digital version that you could view on your computer, on your tablet, on your phone, however you want to view that. Jeff Bajorek's book as well is available in there to download. So there you go. It's like a little free gift for all the viewers today.
Wow, that's great. Guys, jump on that. Seriously. And thank Chris Stone and Victor. That's awesome. So the next interview was with
Selling from the Heart, Larry Levine.
Larry Levine. And this one's got some laughs in it, but there's some really good stuff in here, guys. Don't miss this. Hey, Pete Primeau here with Larry Levine, Selling from the Heart. Larry,
Pete,
awesome
great to be here. Oh, it's great.
Awesome
Absolutely
show.
Great.
Awesome today. Listen, I didn't know you love Napoleon Hill like I do. I kind of got a sneaking suspicion based on some LinkedIn posts that might be true.
Okay, can I give you the backstory on this?
Yes.
So here's the deal. So about 7-8 months ago, a LinkedIn connection of mine reached out, and we just never spoke to this person before. And she had said, hey, I have a book for you to read, because I'd shared with her a backstory. She shared her backstory. We had some commonalities. And she goes, I want you to read this book called 3 Feet from Gold. So I'm giving you the backstory to Napoleon Hill on this.
Yeah.
And the book 3 Feet from Gold is written by a gentleman named Greg Reed, and he co-authored it with Sharon Lechter. And I believe that this book is the modern day Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, wow.
And I read it, and it smacked me between the eyes. And I did some research, and I found out that Sharon Lechter had the keys to the kingdom to the Napoleon Hill Foundation. She knows Don Green, who's the executive director, and things like that. So I started doing some research, and I go, I got to dive into this stuff, because 3 Feet from Gold just smacked me across the face in a very positive way.
Yeah.
So I go, I'm going all in.
Yeah.
So I started to do some research on Napoleon Hill, and I just started gobbling up books, and I started gobbling up Napoleon Hill books. I get the emails the foundation sends out every day, and I stumbled across Mental Dynamite. And that book literally changed my thinking, and it was that conversation that I shared today. It's that conversation between Napoleon Hill and Andrew Carnegie. And that's the conversation that set him on his 20-year journey to interview all of Andrew Carnegie's buddies. And that's all that took place from that conversation of Mental Dynamite to Think and Grow Rich. That's what's just captivated me.
Anybody out there that doesn't know the story, here's the story. Napoleon Hill's an aspiring journalist.
Yeah.
Andrew Carnegie is one of the wealthiest men in the world, most successful men in the world. And he promises to make introductions. He gives them a mission, but there's no money.
Zero
No money.
Dead serious.
No
Zero money involved in this.
No money. So you want to talk about believing in yourself. You want to talk about going out on faith, and he believed in Andrew Carnegie.
Okay, but I got to interject in this
Go
one.
ahead.
Only because I've gone in deep. Sorry.
Yeah.
But Andrew Carnegie literally gave him 60 seconds to answer.
That's even better.
And it spells it out in the book. And at 29 seconds, he says yes, not knowing what would come next. Check that one out. It's true. It's right in the book.
In Mental Dynamite?
Yeah, it's right in the book.
I've got the book. I haven't read it yet.
Read it, dude. Come on, man.
So you'll love this, because I love this guy so much. If he told me to like jump out a window and it'll be okay, the parachute will magically appear, I would do it. So he recommended a book. I jumped on it. I got the book, and I go, I don't have time to read it. Now it's like on my it's like risen.
Dude, I'm telling you. Read Mental Dynamite. Y'all, everyone, read Mental Dynamite. It's an easy read. It's the whole manuscript of this 2-hour conversation between Andrew Carnegie and Napoleon Hill. And it's also edited by Don Green. Don Green's the executive director. He actually found the archive of that conversation, and that book was released. So we're in 2022. That book is released in 2020. So it's a fairly new read.
So before you buy that book, I want you to buy this book, Selling from the Heart, Larry Levine. I didn't read it forever because I'm going, I am Mr. Selling from the Heart. No one's going to teach Pete Primeau about selling from the heart. I am Mr. Selling from the Heart.
Dude.
And I get in about 20, 30 pages and I go, crap. He's Mr. Selling from the Heart.
Okay, but let me, I got to throw a segue in there. That's how you reached out to me. I remember one of the very first messages you sent me was that.
Yeah.
It's classic.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, man.
So anybody that bought Outbound, you got to tune in on what Larry's laying down. Anybody that doesn't know Larry, get on Selling from the Heart and listen to everything this guy says. And if you are a sales pro and you're a little timid and you think Selling from the Heart's going to be this wishy-washy stuff, no. When you really sell from the heart, you dig deep, you take chances, you do the right thing for your customer. And sometimes that involves difficult conversations with your customers.
Absolutely. I just call it giving a rip. You got to give a rip about yourself. You really do. And, you know, there's nothing wrong, and I call this assertive, you know, a couple times today at Outbound, they brought up the word assertive. You have to have assertive conversations. I'm a big believer in this. If you want to connect, if you want to authentically connect to your clients, you must have assertive, heartfelt, genuine conversations.
Larry, I know you got to go, but thank you so much. And thank you for connecting with me.
Oh, this is my pleasure.
Thank you for being on my show. When are you writing the next book?
Oh,
Dude,
so
come on, talk to me.
Okay, so
This is just for you guys out there.
Now I'm spilling the beans. I'm like 75% into my second book.
Nice.
If I stay on course, that's the big deal. If I stay on course, I will stay on course.
Yes, you will.
Sorry, I will stay on course.
Because you're disciplined.
It's early 2023.
And you
the
can't-
book will be out. It's going to be a sequel to Selling from the Heart. Can I share the title?
Yes.
It's Selling from the Heart, No More Empty Suits, How Sales Professionals Build Trust in a Post-Trust World.
Ooh, that's powerful because we are living in a post-trust world.
Yes. And without trust, we know deals stall. More trust, more sales.
Guys, connect with Larry. He's the best. And thank you very much.
No, you're very
Larry.
welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care.
Wow. So I had forgotten on that interview that he tipped off his new book, and here we are in early 2023. Where's the book, Larry?
Larry, where is the book? I gotta tell you, I forgot completely about that. First of all, I just gotta say this. Anybody that watches that interview, you can tell by our body language that we enjoy being with each other. We're connected, here, and we're connected here, and we view selling the same way. And the fact that he kind of did spill the beans, and I'll tell you what, we really are living in a post-trust world, and building trust is so important. I cannot wait to read that book. Actually, I don't make New Year's resolutions. I just don't do them. But I do make commitments. And one of the commitments that I made to myself this year is not to read more books. My commitment was to implement everything that I've read in the last few years that I have not implemented, and really be accountable to myself for implementing great ideas that will help grow my dealer's business. And so reading new books does not excite me at this point. I have a lot on my plate, but this is a book that I will not miss. Selling from the Heart, how sales professionals build trust in a post-trust world. Guys, that is a must-read book. And if you haven't read Larry's book, Selling from the Heart, yet, you're just really missing it and I didn't read it for the longest time because that's true. I am Mr. Selling from the Heart. No one's going to teach me how to sell from the heart. And then I get into this book and I go, there are things that I need to learn from this man. I need to get to know this man. I need to have him on my show. I need to make sure that what he laid down in this book gets into the hands of as many people as possible. And you would think that I am like a paid walk-in endorsement for Larry Levine and for Selling from the Heart. And I am, but I'm not paid for. So I love this give a rip and the whole thing with assertive conversations. A lot of times people hear that selling from the heart, Chris, they just think, oh, it's just soft, fluffy,
Woo-woo.
nice conversations. But
Right.
when you really care deeply about somebody, think about if you're a parent, think about when you love your child and they're not doing the right things. Are you going to let it go? Or are you going to have the difficult conversation of, hey, your actions are here and they need to be over here and you need to fix this? And that's what you do when you are a professional salesperson and your client is screwing up. You need to at least show him or her the light. If they want to improve and accept it, great. And if they don't, that's great too. Your piece of the responsibility puzzle is now lifted and it's over. But salespeople that don't have difficult conversations with their clients cheat the relationship. It's not a relationship because a relationship is give and take. And if you cannot have a difficult conversation with your clients, you're cheating them. And too many salespeople think that, just regurgitating the company propaganda, our features and benefits, and writing a sale or two, that's being a salesperson. No, being a salesperson is, as Larry says, giving a rip. And it's another word, but you really have to deeply care. And the greatest salesperson that you'll ever meet in your life, there will be one thing that's different about them than other salespeople. And that is in their heart, they care and they care deeply and they care so much about their customers that they will risk it all rather than watch their client fail. So I'm sorry, I went up on my soapbox, Chris.
Don't apologize, Pete. You're go on and preach. But I think it goes. I think something to maybe just add to what you're saying is
Sure.
it goes in both directions. So if you're selling from the heart and you're taking an interest in your customer prospect or whomever, and you take a genuine interest in solving their problems, right? I think if you're on the other end of that, you have to be ready to receive that information, right? And be able to, like, in case in point, Pete, if you and I have a relationship to where if you were to say, hey, Chris, I want to talk to you about something as it relates to my show. I want it to go this way. I'm seeing this happening, right? I'd like to be able to work on this. And instead of me taking that as a shot at my sort of production or the work that I do for you, instead, I take that and say, okay, this is something that I can work on. This is something that I can receive because I know your intentions as someone that is selling from the heart. Your intentions are to make not just your show better or what you do better, but to make me better. Right. And we're in this together, sharpening the irons, so to speak. And I think it goes in both directions. And when you can have a client customer, relationship with someone to where it does go both ways, you both succeed. The rising tide lifts all ships, right? Mm-hmm. And at worst, you have a good relationship and you have a friend. And our friend Dan Jordan, the sales energizer, says if you want to be a better salesperson, first be a better person. And that is, I think a lot of people, like you mentioned, like people think when they say selling from the heart and they hear things like that it's a bunch of woo woo. It's not. It's life. And when people say their sales is life, it's because they believe that if they can help someone and somehow that becomes a profession, what better profession is there than to help other people? And so, I mean, I don't know if that, now I have to get off my soapbox, right, Pete? So
No, I love that. And I love that you brought Dan's quote up, because it's 100% true. And one of the neat things about you is you produce numerous shows, and you're involved in a lot of different things, and you get to deal with a lot of super successful people, Chris. And after a while, you had to have said to yourself, I keep seeing the same things repeat, and there's commonalities. Yes, there's differences, but here's what's the same.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that you'll see in all successful people is they care more deeply. They care so deeply that it carries them past the normal person's effort. It carries them past fatigue. It carries them past tiredness. It makes them knock on the one more door. It makes them have the one more difficult conversation, because they passionately care about the person on the other side of the table. And that's what we get rewarded for, going deeper. And I constantly say this. I say this almost every week. I say it to everybody all the time. Anybody who knows me knows. Go deeper. The gold is going deeper and going in places that maybe you shouldn't go. Go in places where no one else dares go. I mean, one time I told one of my most successful dealers, you need to take your first $1 million and spend it on a psychiatrist. And he looked at me, he teared up, and he goes, you're right. And then he told me more. And I felt like saying, well, now you owe me money, because I did a full-blown session for you, dude. But
generated an invoice on the spot.
You gotta have difficult conversations, and you just have to care deeply. And I like to always be positive, but I will say this. If you don't love people and it doesn't excite you to help improve someone else's life, do me a favor, get out of sales, because you don't belong in sales. If you love people and you want to positively impact their lives and you want them to be successful, you want their businesses to succeed, I welcome you with open arms, and I'll teach you everything that I could possibly teach you and point you in any direction I can to help you be successful. And with that, let me just share this. Sometimes we get to a point in our career, we think, you know what? I've made millions. People love me. They tell me I'm great every day. I can't learn anything. And that's a lie. You can always learn. I went to Outbound more to network than anything else. Here I am, 62 years old, 40 years in the business, and I learned. And I learned from some people that I didn't even know. I didn't know Amy Franco before this. She's brilliant. I mean, I knew Larry and I knew Victor, but seeing them in person and shaking their hand, that's a different experience than reading their book or watching them on video. It's a different way of learning, and it drives it deeper. And what was the most interesting about Outbound for me, as someone who considers himself successful, I had a notebook full of ideas. And I'm going to tell you this right now. it wasn't the ideas of the people that were on the stage. It was the idea that it sparked, because immediately I go, "Look, that won't work in my business." But then I said, how do I make it work in my business? How does that idea, maybe a degree or two to the right or to the left, help me be a better servant for my customers? And I walked away with one idea after the other. I think that if we don't go to live seminars, we don't go to Outbound, I think we cheat ourselves. I think we cheat ourselves, seeing Mark Hunter loaded up with coffee and on a caffeine high, greeting everybody that walked in every morning. It was a beautiful thing to watch, slapping guys on the back. I felt like I've known him forever, meeting some of the young stars like Jeff Bajorek. I mean, I'll tell you what, if you would have charged me twice as much, I would have paid it. Now that I've been there, I'd pay 3 times as much. Jeb, don't raise the prices.
I was just about to say, well, we won't play that for Jeb, or
But
he'll raise the prices. No, I'm kidding.
I want to encourage everybody, whether you're brand new in sales, whether you're in the middle of your career, or maybe you're towards the end of your career like I am, and you think you really do know it all. You don't know it all, and you owe it to yourself. Even if you did know it all, you owe it to yourself to go and help share your knowledge with everybody else. And I'm a little bit ashamed of myself that I hadn't been to Outbound before. I told Jeb in an interview that we recorded, Chris, I will never miss another Outbound. As long as I'm actively in business, I said as long as I'm alive, but I should have qualified that as long as I'm not retired. But you know what? Here's a crazy thing. I've been doing this as 41 years now. I love my business. I love the people that I work with so much. It feeds me, it nourishes me. It is more than an exchange of ideas for money. It's a huge part of my life, and I'm not giving it up anytime soon unless I get forced on the sidelines. But Outbound is special. It really is. And to meet these people in person, it's amazing and humbling, and it drills ideas into your head and sparks new creative ideas that we all need to create a better business for our customers, because every salesperson is going to have the little propaganda that their company gives them, but they come to us for new and creative ideas. If you are not actively seeking out new and creative ideas, how are you going to bring new and creative ideas to your customers? How are you going to do that if there's nothing stimulating you? If you're not reading books, you're not going to conferences like Outbound. And I will say this, I have to share my thought. When Jeb Blunt said this is a rock concert meets a sales conference, might be a little bit of overselling. It is a rock concert and a sales conference mixed together. And the approachability of the speakers and the warmth and the energy and the feeling that you get from going there is absolutely priceless. So when the tickets for Outbound go on sale, jump in, join me at the Pete Primeau Supper Club at Outbound. Chris, what are your thoughts, man? I'm just going on and on. And
My
on.
thoughts at the supper club is I can't wait. I'll make sure that I'm good and hungry by that time. But just sort of going back to what you're talking about in terms of lifelong learning, Pete, I think it sort of goes without saying is that I think a lot of your community here appreciates the fact that you're encouraging everyone to attend themselves, and because you can get more out of what you put into it for sure. But the fact is that you are sharing what you have learned, not only just the concepts that you've learned. And I saw you in the front row at every single, like Pete, there is no one that attended more things at Outbound than Pete Primeau. I am here to tell you that he was in the front row. He had his notebook out and he was constantly writing, head down, the master class, everything out. And he shares that with you. So, and the fact is, Pete, you're doing that because you want to help the people that are here in your community. And that's a fantastic thing, because I think there's a lot of people out there that have more of a scarcity mindset, and they want to learn these things for themselves to be able to achieve whatever they want to achieve for themselves. And you have gotten to a point where you are bringing that in and you can't wait to share it with people. And so that is commendable, and just another, reason that I feel, a sense of gratitude to be able to do this for you each and every week. So thank you, sir.
No, thank you, Chris. I gotta, it's amazing to be so blessed and so lucky to get up every day and be excited about what I do, and to have met this community of people at Outbound, Jeb Blunt, Mark Hunter, Larry Levine, Anthony Iannarino, which huge there, Victor Antonio, and formerly Mike Weinberg, who's probably the single most impactful person in my sales life. So, and introduced to me through Jeb Blunt and Outbound. So, I can't wait till the tickets go on sale. I can't wait to be in Atlanta again. And I want everyone that's watching this to join me. Guy Danes, if you're there, I'm buying you a steak dinner, brother, at Chris Ruth. Kyle, you come too, man. I'll buy you a steak dinner too. Let's have a great group. And I promise I'll get somebody there. I don't know what their availability will be, but I'll try to get more than one if I can. Chris, thanks for all you do. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
And next week we'll be live like we normally are, Gain. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys more than you know. And I have a blast doing this show and sharing a little bit of what I've learned. And I have been so lucky and so blessed that I have literally sit at the feet of some of the best people in the industry and learned this business inside and out, from a micro and a macro level, from some of the best in the business. And often what I'm sharing with you, it's not my ideas. These are just the best ideas that I've come across in 41 years that I'm sharing with you. And it's my love letter back to the industry and saying thank you. So anyway, sorry to get choked up. I do that on occasion. Chris, I appreciate you more than you know. Take care.
Thank you, Pete.
Thanks.